the Curious Owl here, and holy crap, it is June already. Oh my god, we are already halfway through the year, and it's freaking crazy. I've been out of school now for almost a month, and it feels like it's been a year. So May was a really interesting month because I thought I was going to have a internship and or a summer job, and neither of those things happened because I decided to take a babysitting job. Basically, I didn't get a summer internship that I wanted, and I didn't apply for any summer jobs because I was offered a full-time babysitting job to babysit the little girl that I normally do during the weekends when I come home. So that was really, really awesome, and I've been able to go and do a lot of cool stuff now because I haven't really been able to have a summer job, and I don't start until the 11th of June. So I've been able to go out to my sister's softball games and have a good time there. My younger sister finally graduated from high school, and we had her open house the literally same day as commencement. We just had it a little later in the day because we couldn't really have any other time to do it, and both of my grandmas came up from Texas and have spent 10 days here, and it was so great. I loved having them here. It was such a treat to have them since I haven't seen them both in like 3 years or so. So there was a lot of great stuff that happened in the month, and I was able to get through some really good books. A couple of them, though, I wasn't too keen on. So this month I read and finished 3 books, one of them being an audiobook, 2 being physical, and I DNF'd 2 audiobooks and am in the middle of another one as of now that I will be continuing in with June. Over the course of the month, I read a total of 1,110 pages and about 16 hours and 5 minutes worth of audiobooks. The first book that I completed in the month of May was the audiobook for The Female of the Species by Mindy McGinnis. This book talks a lot about rape culture, and especially in terms of it being in a small town, as there are 3 main characters who all are somehow tied up in this backstory of one of the characters whose sister was raped and killed by an unknown man who was supposedly a person from their hometown. The thing that I really liked about this story a lot, though, was the fact of all these different characters and their quirks and how they all individually grew as people because of the friendship that they had with each other and the kind of camaraderie that was built through these characters. One character was hell-bent on destroying anyone who was a rapist and basically just trying to live with the past of her sister's passing. Another becomes her friend and doesn't really know much about her, but has always been dubbed as the preacher's kid because of her parents and really feels stifled because of it. And another character is so obsessed with sex with this one girl, but once he meets Alex, one of the other main characters, he begins to fall in love with her for more than what she is. And this story really talks a lot about sex and how there is a lot that kind of goes into it as opposed to just the physical act of it, and how there are so many things that can go wrong, and especially when those that are raped and killed are under the influence of things like drugs or alcohol, and how consent is not something that is given when somebody is inebriated. And it's got a lot of different ideas that kind of flow within it, and I think it was very well executed, if maybe at times it was a little slow, and if at times some of the characters seemed a little too good to be true. Then I tried listening to Delirium by Lauren Oliver. This audiobook was honestly really dull. It was supposed to be in this kind of not post-apocalyptic but kind of dystopian world where love has been eradicated, and if you are found to have this disease of love, you are basically going to be sent off to die, or else you will basically go through this surgery at the age of 18 to eliminate this possible disease from your brain. And the story, I think, is supposed to be about this girl coming up on her 18th birthday who meets someone and falls in love with him. It was very insta-lovey and very stupid, and I thought it was really slow and dumb. I honestly did not care for the main character at all, and I cared more about the best friend than anything because only her story was really interesting to me. And eventually I just gave up on it because I really couldn't stand this main character at all. Then right after that, I was so disappointed to have listened to Shatter Me by Tahara Mafi and ended up DNFing it as well because I could not stand this story. There was like no world building. There was a huge insta-love connection right at the beginning of the story that I did not understand. And this main character was just so whiny the entire time because although she's trapped in this cell for like almost a year with no contact with anyone, as her touch could possibly kill another person, she just was filled with nothing but sorrow and whininess, and it made it so unbearable to get through this book. I couldn't even begin to express how annoyed this book made me, and so I ended up having to DNF it, and I was really surprised because I know a lot of people loved Shatter Me and loved Tahereh Mafi's writing, but I could not stand it for the life of me. On the brighter side though, I did finally get through Beautiful Darkness, the second book in the Beautiful Creature series by Kami Garcia and Margaret Stoll. I actually realized though that my thoughts on this one have drastically changed from my time as a teenager to now, because this used to be my favorite book of the series, and it ended up actually being a 4 out of 5 stars for me by the end of it all. And the reasoning mostly was because I felt that there was so much we were missing from Lena's perspective throughout the whole story, and I think that the story was really bogged down by a lot of the world and lore building that was involved in the story, and there were some things that I just really did not think were needed or could have been a little bit more developed to where I felt they were more important. But overall, I still love this book for what it is. But something I have realized though is that now going through this reread, my tastes have definitely changed, because this, like I said, this used to be my favorite novel of the series, and now it's not. It's a 4 out of 5 stars, whereas the first book was a 5 out of 5. And the last book that I finished in May, at the very end of May, with like 30 minutes left on the 31st, is my random TBR pick for the month, which was Desperation by Stephen King. This is a gigantic book dealing with this town of Desperation, Nevada, and a bunch of these characters kind of come into the city as they are dragged in by this deranged cop named Kali Atragian, and they find out that there is more than meets the eye when they come into this town. And they realize that things are much darker than they actually are once they start to realize the things that are going on within this town, as everyone in this town has been killed, and they have to try to find a way to not only get out of the city, but find out exactly what has gone on and why all these people are dead, and why there is a deranged cop coming and grabbing random people off the street to bring into town. Overall, I really did enjoy this novel as well, and I just did the review of it, so you guys will see that fairly soon. But this book for me was really interesting, but there were still some unanswered questions I had by the end of it, and I think that there were a lot of things that could have been either condensed or cut out, because some of the times in this book things got really slow, but for the most part this was a very high energy, emotional roller coaster story that kept me going throughout the whole book. About the halfway mark through the book, I stopped really tabbing a lot of the book because I was so enraptured with the story that I kept forgetting to tab things that were really important for me to tab. I think that's a good testament to talking about how this book has made me feel while reading it, and I ended up giving Desperation a 4 out of 5 stars. The book that I am currently working on is the audiobook for The Diviners by Libba Bray. I've been now working on this a little over 2 weeks, and I was really worried that I wasn't going to be able to renew it because I was coming up on the expiration date for it on Overdrive, and I realized that there were no holds on it, so I was able to renew it. So hopefully I'll be able to finish that one soon. I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm a little more than halfway done with it, I think. I'm just about halfway through the book, and I really am enjoying it. But I'm noticing now that with the summer, I don't have as much time to listen to audiobooks, or I'm not picking out times where I can listen to the audiobook more, because during the school year, I would listen to it going to and from work or classes, and I would be listening at lunch or when I was on a break of some kind, and I have to basically retrain myself to find the times during the day where I can listen to that. So the best things for me is usually like if I'm in the car and I'm driving, that's when I'll typically listen to it. But I have to find those times where it's going to be more convenient for me to listen to it to try to get through more of the book. So there you guys go. Those are all the books that I finished in the month of May. It wasn't overall too bad of a month. I did finish 3 books, and I tried 2 others, and they just didn't work out for me. I really just didn't like them. But you know what? You win some, you lose some. And that's kind of how I have viewed this month in terms of my reading. So thank you guys so much for joining me in this video. If you guys did enjoy it, please do give it a big thumbs up. And if you're not already and you'd like to be, hit that button down below and subscribe to become an owlet in our flock. And I will see all of you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.